totally practical with the Equifax hacks and the Anthem hacks that everyone in this room has been probably affected by one or the other. Is there anything we can do as citizens to protect ourselves, or is it a lost cause?
No, I'll tell you what to do, but let me explain this to you. That is where when I went to the FBI 41 years ago, I worked undercover for a long period of time. Then I went into the field and dealt with counterfeits and forgeries, embezzlement, financial crimes. In the last 20 years, I've dealt with only cyber-related crimes. So I spend most of my time with breaches. I have worked every breach back to TJ Maxx 15 years ago. And this is what I've learned. First of all, every single breach occurs because somebody in that company did something they weren't supposed to do, or somebody in that company failed to do something they were supposed to do. Hackers do not cause breaches. People do. And every breach comes down to that. So in the case of Equifax, they didn't update their infrastructure. They didn't fix the patches they should have put in place. They were very negligent in what they were doing. So the hacker waited for the door to open. So when you interview a hacker, the hacker will say to you, look, I can't get into Chase Bank. The truth is they spend about $500 million a year on technology. Every 12 months, they spend $500 million of their profit on putting technology and software in their bank to keep me out. However, they employ 200,000 people worldwide. All I have to do is wait for one of those people to do something they weren't supposed to do or fail to do what they were supposed to do, and that'll open the door for me to get in. When you steal credit card numbers like Home Depot, Target, TJ Maxx, that's stealing credit cards and debit card information. That has a very short shelf life, so you have to get rid of it very, very quickly. But if I steal your name, your social security number, and your date of birth, you can't change your name. You can't change your social security number. You can't change your date of birth. So those people warehouse that data for 2 to 3 years. So we won't even see that surface for at least a couple of years before some of that will start to surface, the data that was stolen. Whatever number they start with, I think was 143 million, then it became 146 million. It was a million driver's licenses. Now it's 10.6 million driver's licenses. All breaches start with very low numbers before they let you know the actual true number. So it's probably about 240 million pieces of information that was stolen. But I remind people all the time that they're going to warehouse that data. So buying 1-year credit monitoring service is absolutely worthless because nothing's going to happen in a year. And if you really analyze Equifax, they were very unethical in what they did. They thought to themselves, first of all, they sold a bunch of stock knowing that it was going to come out. That was worse. But then they sat there and said, how do we make a profit from this? It was our mistake, but how do we turn this around into a profit? So they sat there and said, what we'll do is we'll offer millions and millions of people 1-year credit monitoring service for free. They'll sign up, and in a year from now, we'll simply say that data hasn't really surfaced yet. You need to be enrolled automatically into our program, which is $20 a month. So they're going to make millions and millions of dollars with automatic enrollment into their program. If you've been a subject of that breach, there's only 2 things you can do, and 2 things only. One, you can freeze your credit. Each state varies about that. So some states freezing your credit is free. Other states there's a fee associated with it, typically $10 to freeze it, $18 to unfreeze it, $10 to freeze it again. So for the last 2 years, I've testified before Congress, and you go to my website at abagnale.com, you'll see me testifying before Congress, telling them that they need to put a federal law across the 50 states that allow anyone to freeze their credit at any time and unfreeze it at any time. There should be no reason that there should be a fee associated with it, because then that becomes a deterrent to people actually freezing their credit. So you can freeze your credit. That's one thing you can do, and then you unfreeze it if you need it, if it's not too much of a hassle. And then the only other thing is to monitor your credit. So I've used a credit monitoring service since 1992. So for about 25 years, I've been using a service. I think they charge me like